Hi everyone, welcome. Today I'm going to be talking about New York, specifically downtown New York, where all the lights are bright. Okay, you're lucky I'm not probably just going to keep singing that, but it's probably going to stay in my head for the rest of the day. Anyway, I headed off to New York to check out another Broadway show, well, my first proper Broadway show. And so this is the second time since I moved over to Washington. And so I was feeling pretty confident that I knew what I was doing. I headed up on the Amtrak train again because I'd been over, and it wasn't, it's only a few weeks ago that I did it. I didn't bother looking out the window too much because I pretty much knew what I was going to see. So I read a book, but the one time I did, sort of one of the few times that I did sort of look up, we were just outside somewhere, I don't know where, but there was a deer just on the grass near the train tracks. And I just thought, oh, that's sweet. So I always like to see a bit of wildlife. So I headed in and got in at the same time pretty much that I did the last time, about 8:30 at night. I knew exactly which entrance or exit I needed to get out to get to my hotel. There was a whole pile of police there and my exit was blocked off with barricades, and they all had the riot gear on, like the full helmet and batons and things like that. And I'm thinking, okay, I'm not expecting that. I don't know what this is. And so they were sort of ushering us around a detour. So I just had to come up from one of the subway entrances, which was fine. And I sort of knew where I was, but there was more police out on the streets and I didn't know what it was. So I checked into my hotel, which is lucky not that far away from the train station. And I sort of asked him at the counter, oh, what's going on? I think there might have been a protest going on, but the main reason why there was all the police presence is because a very important person was staying around the corner, and it was Joe Biden. So yes, there was extra police out just to make sure he was kept safe. So I just thought, oh, maybe he heard I was in town. But I was too busy to catch up with him because I had lots to do and only a weekend to do it in. So maybe next time, Joe, when we're both back in Washington. So I stayed this time in a place called the New Yorker. This is a really nice Art Deco building, and it's been around since the 1930s. It's just such a lovely looking place, and it has seen quite a lot in past days. It had ice shows there. Nikola Tesla lived there for a while, and that's where Hillary Clinton gave her concession speech. So it's seen a lot, the New Yorker, and so I settled in for a couple of nights. So I headed out bright and early on Saturday morning for my first ever subway trip in New York. Now, I have to say, I've been a bit spoilt by the Washington Metro. It's clean, it's easy to get to places, it's very, you know exactly where you need to be, and escalators everywhere. It's so easy to use, but I get that it's a much smaller system than the New York subway. But anyway, through absolute dumb luck, I managed to pick the right entrance down into the train station. I don't know how to describe it, but there might be three or four tracks that you go downstairs. But if you go down one set of stairs, you're not necessarily going to get to all four platforms. So you just have to pick which set of stairs you use. Like I said, absolute dumb luck. I managed to get on the one that was taking me straight down to the World Trade Center. So I got off at the World Trade Center and saw the Oculus building. Now this is it's a bit of a TARDIS building. It doesn't look like it's much on the outside, but it's got a lot of lower levels and shopping and things like that. Because I went out that early, the shops weren't open. I think they don't open until about 10 o'clock here. So I didn't really have too much of a look around, but geez, what a gorgeous looking building. From there, across the road is the World Trade Center and the 9/11 Memorial. And so it's a somber affair there, and as you would expect. I mean, it changed so much in the world, not to mention the lives that were lost. So I thought that they'd done a very tasteful commemoration there. There was the two Twin Tower spaces and people's names around them that had passed, and lots of trees had been planted. So I thought it was a really nice place to check out and have a look. There was a museum as well, but I didn't end up going to the museum because I think I needed to book, and I hadn't left time to book. After the World Trade Center, I headed down to Wall Street. So I wanted to see the stock exchange and a few bits and pieces, and the bull, because you've got to see the bull when you're down at Wall Street. There was a lineup to take your photo with the bull, front and back. I don't know what the fascination is with the balls of the bull, but there were people underneath and you're sort of cradling them and getting photos taken. Look, I didn't line up because I just took a photo of the bull and I was happy with that. I did take some footage, but for some reason I can't get my tablet to play any video that I take with my camera, so I have to remember and take it with my phone from now on, and then transfer it that way. So I did have shots of people being idiotic around the bull's balls, but there we go. Anyway, so around there is also, it's a very old part of New York, and there's a lot of really old buildings and churches, some really old gravestones. Now, I know that before I left, I knew that where this gravestone was and this church, Alexander Hamilton had been buried, and his gravestone was there. And I thought, right, I must remember to do that, but then forgot when I got there. And it wasn't until after, when I got back to Washington actually, that I went, I was supposed to go looking for Alexander Hamilton's grave, just to take a shot, but I didn't anyway. So after I headed down Wall Street and saw the bull, I went to Battery Park. So this is a lovely park that is right at the tip of Manhattan, and they've got a lot of people doing lots of things, like there's yoga and Tai Chi and other kind of things, and there's a lot of people selling drinks and fruit. They'll quite happily sell cups of fresh fruit, which is nice, I guess. There's a lovely carousel there called the Sea Glass Carousel. Again, I took footage and it looked lovely. And there was, so not only was it just a normal carousel, but then it went up and down, but then it span around as well, some of the seahorses. And it was really pretty, and I really wanted to go, but it's obviously for kids, and I just didn't want to look like that adult that just has to go on all the kids' things. But it was lovely. I liked Battery Park. So right next to Battery Park is the ferry, the Staten Island ferry, and then there's also ferries that do a Ellis Island Statue of Liberty tour, and you can get off at Ellis Island. I think there's another island, Governor's Island or something like that you can go to as well. The difference is the Ellis Island one costs money. If you just go on the Staten Island ferry, that costs nothing, but all it does is take you to Staten Island and that's it, and then you just get it back again, but it's free. So even on the website, on the Staten Island ferry website, they do say, hey, look, if someone approaches you with tickets for the Staten Island ferry, don't believe them, you can just get on. So yes, I wasn't that keen on seeing Ellis Island anyway. I'm not, I understand that a lot of people have their ancestry in Ellis Island, but I don't. So I just thought, look, I'm just going to get on the Staten Island ferry and away we go. So I want those shots. I want to see Statue of Liberty, and we got quite close. And I did have my camera with me, so I could get some good close-up shots. And it was just, again, it's just surreal sometimes when you see some of these things and go, well, that's me actually there. I'm on the Staten Island ferry and heading out to see the Statue of Liberty. It's just surreal. And then we're getting the shots behind of New York, the skyline. I think I took some of New Jersey. So you've got New Jersey on one side and New York on the other. And so when we got to Staten Island, someone had told me at work, one of my UK mates, that there's a big outlet mall there. And I thought, oh, well, you know, if I've got a bit of time, who doesn't like a bit of outlet shopping? Then an American friend said, don't do it. The tax is more. All the New Yorkers just go across to New Jersey where the tax is less. So I thought, all right, then I'm just going to go out the exit and come back in again. So really that's all I did. I walked out the exit and then just went straight back onto the Staten Island ferry and headed back again. I mean, it was a bit, I mean, the weather was fine. It was a bit cloudy though, so it would have been nice to have a bit of sunshine, but I think, you know, still got some good shots. And I loved the fact that people just use this as a commuter ferry as well. They're just sitting in the middle of the ferry, nowhere near the edges, so you've got all the views. And just with their groceries or whatever they've got, they've been to a market or something. So I just thought, oh, that's really, yeah, that's cute. And I wonder whether they just then get sick of, oh, here's all the bloody tourists again. All I wanted was to go and get some fruit and veg, check out, you know, something on Staten Island and then come back again. Oh, bloody tourists. But hey, that's what it is, I suppose. After the Staten Island ferry, I headed to Chelsea. I got back on the subway and went to Chelsea Market. And that is a weird little place. It's an eclectic little meet the maker kind of place, but also a lot of gourmet grocers in it and plenty of different kinds of things to eat. And it was just, it was a real rabbit warren of an old building. And, but it was really good. There was a few things I wanted to get, but I was trying to be good. Whilst I had a bit more room and luggage than the last time, I just thought I'd just, you know, still try not to just buy up big. Also, I'm, you know, technically not on holiday and I can't just buy everything, especially if I don't need it. But there was some gourmet food that I would like to go back to. And so I might do that when I, maybe when I get time. When I get time to go up and maybe take some people, maybe my family, when they come up and visit me, we can go back to Chelsea Market. I did get a pizza there. And this is a weird pizza. It was like on a focaccia base. And I think what they do is they make the focaccia first, like they bake it, and then they do pizza toppings and then recook it. And it was so crispy and it was about that thick. It was so nice. I really, really enjoyed that. So even if I just go back and get that pizza again, that's got to be worth it. Anyway, so the reason why I went to Chelsea Market is because I'd heard about this place called the High Line. Now what it is, it was a train line that ran through New York or through that part of Manhattan. And it was an elevated train. And it was from about the 1800s to 1980s. And then they stopped running it. And so it got very overgrown. And I think in the 90s, they sort of look, there's all these weeds and everything. It's in disrepair. It's an eyesore. And someone went, well, actually, the weeds, if you change that up to plants, that wouldn't look too bad at all, would it? And so what they decided to do was then make it what they called the High Line. So it's a walking trail. You can't get up there with a bike. I didn't see any bikes. But yeah, so they've just then put plants in place. I think there's about 500 plus species of plants and trees, and they've put benches along the way, and you can still see the old tracks. There's all these statues and all kinds of things. They run a market there, and it was just a lovely walk. I think if they keep expanding to it or extending it, and I think it's about 1.45 miles, which I have no idea what that is in kilometres. Is it 3 kilometres? Who knows? Anyway, if you know the conversion, or if I haven't put it up here somewhere, it was 1.45 miles. And it was just really, really nice. Again, the day was good, so it wasn't super hot. And there was heaps of people on it. Absolutely heaps. The only thing that was a bit weird is that you are walking past people's houses and their apartments. Because I really don't know how high up we were. Maybe 3 or 4 stories high. Anyway, some people had tinted windows so you couldn't see in. I think that's what I'd be doing, because there were people that didn't have tinted windows. Now we didn't I didn't see anything. I didn't see anything untoward. There was some guy who looked like he was painting skirting boards, or the baseboards, and yeah, I did think, and we could see really clearly it was his bedroom, and I just thought, I wouldn't like that. So Highline is a great walk and everything like that, but I wouldn't want to be living there without the tinted windows. So I'm getting the steps in when I come to New York. So I was back to my hotel room for a little bit of a rest because I was tired after all that walking. And then I headed to the Ambassador Theatre to see Chicago. So that was the reason why I went up to New York, because I wanted to see that again. Jinx Monsoon is who I saw last time in Little Shop of Horrors, and she was playing Mama Morton for 20 episodes, only 20 shows, and I knew I had to get up and see her. So I love Chicago. I love the story. I'm fascinated that it was based on a true story, and just thought, I need to get up for that and see that. And it was going to be my first Broadway show because it has more than 500 seats in it in the theatre, so that makes it a Broadway show. And actually it's just off Broadway in 8th or something like that, between 8th and Broadway on 49th Street. So I headed up there and didn't realise that Chicago was the longest running US show, and it's been running since 1996. Anyway, got in there. It was a fairly basic kind of set. They just basically had the orchestra in the middle on a sort of a stepped platformy type thing, and they just used chairs as props. So I'd like to go back and see a Broadway show that has the all singing, all dancing set and scenery. I remember seeing Phantom of the Opera at the Adelaide Entertainment Centre years ago, and I was so impressed by what they did with how they changed the scenes, how they what they did with the scenery. And so I think there must be a show here in New York that has that. So I'm gonna try and get back up there and see that. And Jinx was magnificent, as I expected her to be. Everyone was good. It's a fun show, and so I really enjoyed it. And afterwards stayed behind. So that's what you do. I think in Broadway, you stay behind and see if any of the stars will come out and sign some autographs. And Jinx is so very generous with their time. So she was happy to come out and sign some autographs and take some photos. So I got another photo with Jinx. I'm really happy about that. Then I hoofed it back down 8th Avenue, and that was my Saturday in New York. So bright and early Sunday morning, I checked out and headed back to the subway because I wanted to head to Brooklyn Bridge and cross that. Now I was just going to get off on the Manhattan side, walk across Brooklyn Bridge and then walk back again, and then worked out that I'm on the subway and it actually takes me to the other side of Brooklyn, or the other side of the bridge to Brooklyn. So I thought, well, why am I wasting time crossing a bridge twice when I don't have to? So I thought, all right, let's just do that. So I got off at Brooklyn, and I was really happy I did that because it was a lot warmer day, it was a lot more humid, and yeah, it was tough going that on the Sunday. But anyway, so I've headed to Brooklyn, and I've gone to Dumbo, which is an acronym which stands for Down Under the Manhattan Bridge Overpass. You know, there's a lot of unnecessary words in there. I think, is it tautology or something? I don't know. Down under bridge overpass. Anyway, I headed to Dumbo, and that's where you get all those iconic shots that you always see of the Manhattan Bridge. And because there's two bridges, there's the Brooklyn Bridge and the Manhattan Bridge. And so I was going to cross the Brooklyn Bridge, but took some photos of the Manhattan Bridge. I got some shots, I think, of the Brooklyn Bridge. I don't know. I'm starting to get confused what I saw now. But we're obviously on the Hudson River, and so I got down there and tried to get some arty shots like everyone was doing. And there was a lot of people posing, and a lot of people, there was, I think, a couple of maybe what I would call bridal shots, or, you know, something like that. Anyway, engagement shots. So people getting some professional shots done. So I tried my best to take some good shots of the bridges down under, and then headed up to the Brooklyn Bridge. Now, I didn't realise, I mean, you see a bridge and you go, this is pretty high up. But then the pedestrians, us pedestrians, we were over the traffic as well. And I got up there and it was wooden slats, so you could see, I mean, you could see through them. And I started to think, shit, do I really want to do this? And this is very high up. And then I did sort of, rally myself and say, well, the bridge has been standing for a long, long time, and I'm sure it's not going to fall today. Although I did think, well, if it's been there a long time, isn't it due? These are the things that go through my head when I'm trying to avoid doing things that I'm a bit fearful of. But I thought, right, I'm here, I've got to do it. I need to take some shots of the Brooklyn Bridge. I'm going to enjoy it. It's going to be fine. Just go. And so I did start off quite gingerly, but got better as it went on. And it was starting to get really, really warm, and you would get these lovely breezes waft through, which was just a godsend. So I really enjoyed that. There was, again, heaps and heaps of people. And we're only talking about 9:30, 10 o'clock on a Sunday morning, heaps of people. So there was no way I was going to get a shot of the bridge without any people in it. The only thing I tried to do is not get them facing me. So you just had to be patient and wait sometimes. But I was just so happy to go over the Brooklyn Bridge. It's a nice looking bridge. And then you're getting all these views of the New York High Line and just the water itself. So it was good, but geez, it was the longest. It was a long walk. I think, was it supposed to be only 20 minutes? And I might have taken a little bit longer because it was warm, and I'd walked so much the day before, that I just sort of thought, oh, I'm getting tired again very quickly. I did see the sign that indicates that too many people have jumped off of the bridge, and so there's a need to put a sign up. So that's always really sobering, that you think, oh, there's people out there that just haven't had happy lives, and that's how they've chosen to try and fix it. So that's always, it's always sad to see. But off I headed after the Brooklyn Bridge to Chinatown. So heading over to Chinatown, and I went and passed a couple of buildings. I think one was the New York Courthouse. Now, this could have been a Supreme Court. I'm not too sure. Look, knowing that New York was a capital for a while, these buildings could have been built when it was the capital. I'm not too sure. But lovely big courthouse, and then other buildings that you see along the way. When I got into Chinatown, I mean, I don't think I was in Chinatown proper, but I was starting to fade. It was getting really warm, and I just thought, look, I think I just want to get back to the subway because this looks like a bit of a dodgy area. So I'd like to maybe go back and visit, because I didn't get to Little Italy and Chinatown, but I was just thinking, look, it's too hot. I can't do it anymore. So I headed back to the subway, but on the way found this place called Washington Park. Now, the day that I was in New York, there was a massive Pride March happening. And so Washington Square Park was just awash with rainbow flags, and a lot of people dressed so really colourfully, and people selling stuff. It was just a really great atmosphere. And it was one of those quintessential New York type parks where, you've got fountains, and you've got the paths, but then you've got the benches on the side there for people to sit, and people were sitting, and there was a guy playing chess. Someone was giving out fans, which I was grateful for. That's that one there from the Cats show. Now, I don't necessarily want to go see Cats, but I was grateful for the fan. So that was a great way to end it. I just thought, I've just tripped over this place, and it's just so lovely. It was just a great atmosphere. So I headed back home again, got onto the subway, got back to Penn Station where I left from, and headed back home to Washington. So this is my second trip, and I loved it just as much as I did the first. I'm really liking New York. And my plan before I got here was to maybe do New York in chunks. and it seems to be working. So I've done Midtown. This time I was downtown where all the lights are bright. And then next time I think I'm going to go to Central Park. I haven't been to Central Park yet, and I want to see some of the museums around there. So I think I'll do that my next trip up. And I'm wondering whether to make it closer to winter, where we start to get maybe some snow, some Christmas stuff. Who knows? But that's certainly the plan. So I hope you've enjoyed my second trip to New York. As always, if you've got any questions or want to make any comments or anything like that, feel free to put them down in the comments or wherever you saw the link to this video. See you guys next time. Bye.